Hey, how's everybody doing? I am Sprout the Anti-Hero, and you're at the Sprout and Dusty Show. And as you can see, Dusty Grant is not here today. He's enjoying a nice little sabbatical with his family somewhere in the hills of Arkansas, splashing off of rocks and jumping into rivers and shit like that. He's having a good old time with the family. But with me is my good friend, three-time award-winning?
Three-time, it is.
Three-time award-winning Tulsa hip-hop artist of the year, Brandon Hadenough Young, as the co-host. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good now that I got this technical shit together. I had
That's what's up, dude. That's what's up.
Yeah, every time I try to do something like this, it's always backfired. If it's a Wi-Fi connection or it was 15 minutes ago, it told me the browser needs to be updated, and I updated the browser. It's still not updated. I'm like, you motherfucker. And then I did that on my laptop, and so I went to my iMac, and then my iMac just went like that. So,
yeah. Steve Jobs. I'll tell you what, man. That's Steve Jobs.
He's lucky. He's lucky he's dead. Otherwise, I'd smack the shit out of him right now. He's lucky he's 6 feet under. Otherwise, I put him 6 feet under.
And I'm just like, the power of Apple sometimes, it's like they'll get you to spend the most amount of money for just about the same service as everything else. But every now and then, Apple will prove its point when it needs to, and it's usually when you need their product the worst.
That's the problem, is because I love Apple. I've had it. I mean, iPhones, and you know what? Every time I have an issue with iPhone, you always get that one smart ass friend who goes, "Get an Android." Well, I've had an Android and I hate it even more. And so the issues I've had with Apple and then PCs, I've had spam and all kinds of viruses and shit like that.
Right.
But I never have them with Apple. The worst thing is Apple will freeze every now and then, but PC does that too. It's just a different icon.
For sure.
So, but you know what? Apples are really good for recording. Some of my favorite recording programs are on Apple. So I like the iPhone. It's simple enough. Ever since I first got ever since I got a MacBook, I've loved it. So every time I get on a PC, I get frustrated, but that's just.
Well, hey, before we go any further, we'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor, Big Fish Bail Bonds in Wichita, Kansas, Sedgwick County, America. You hate when you run into trouble with the law, your loved ones run into trouble with the law. You're going to need some help on that. So go ahead and give Pat a call at Big Fish Bail Bonds at 316-262-4100. And remember, jail sucks. Like a motherfucker. It just sucks so bad. Sucks. Well, hey, that's right, Jenny. How you doing? You are on time. What the fuck? Hey, how you doing, Caitlin? Thank you. I got out of surgery. I had emergency surgery the other day, and I've had this problem with my intestine. Like once a year, it would just really be hurting me. Like somebody stabbed me in the torso with an ice pick and started turning it around. It was just that kind of pain. And I have a high tolerance for pain for everything, basically. But I know when I got to go to the hospital. So living in Oklahoma, the first 3 times this shit's happened, they only took a blood test, gave me some painkillers, and sent me home. Well, I go to the hospital with the same problem the other day, and they gave me a CT scan, which is the one thing they didn't do. And they found out I have appendicitis. And I'm like, holy shit, this is the first operation of my entire life. And, a lot of good things, a lot of bad things can happen from these type of things. Of course, human beings and shit like that. And I'm 40 years old and have never had to be cut up for anything except for, crazy shit on the street. But that's a long time ago, y'all. A long time ago. But it was interesting, and I have to say, I went to the hospital. They were really, really cool. They were really attentive. I was in and out of the hospital in 6 hours, literally 6 hours. Like
wow.
I was anesthesia. I had him in stitches when I was about to go under anesthesia. I was laying on the gurney and everything, and They were like, "So, how you feeling?" And he, like just one more time. I mean, are you good with this operation? I was like, "Yes, I'm good with this operation. In fact, make note that I'm good with this operation because it will save my life." You know, like what else do you want me to fucking say? and then I was like, "So what's up on this anesthesia? Am I gonna like feel a buzz and then pass out, or am I just get knocked the fuck out?" They just kind of started laughing and shit like that, and they gave me this mask and they put it over my face and shit. They're like, "All right, take as big deep breaths as you can." And so I've got these giant lungs, and all of a sudden I hear this machine. Boom! I'm like, what the hell? They're like, "Wow, the machine's never read a breath so deep before." I'm like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "You've had all kinds of motherfuckers on this gurney, and like I've breathed the deepest. I mean, really?" And then, "Oh, thanks, Sonny. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you." And then all of a sudden, I was still trying to talk, and then all of a sudden I couldn't. And then I tried to move my arm, and that's all I remember before I woke up in post-op.
Fuck.
So all those horror films I've seen were pretty much true.
Well, see, like I've heard tons of stories. Everyone I know, I mean, has had their appendix taken out, and then I was like, I don't remember ever going to that. I remember asking my mom, and I can't remember what she told me. I think maybe I was one of the lucky ones, but I don't know. Maybe my time is coming.
Well, hey, I mean, it's literally a part of the human body that we don't need, you know? And we got something that's sitting there like a time bomb collecting the poisons and venoms in our lives. I mean, geez, it's like looking on Facebook memories at like toxic relationships. Your appendix is the same way.
It wasn't, I take that back. It was tonsils. It wasn't appendix.
Ah, okay. Tonsillitis.
Tonsils, yes. I don't think I ever had to get taken out, but I don't know. We're not gonna cancel out appendix. That's probably coming up. So
no, not at all.
I hope not.
So, maybe brother,
hopefully I shit it out. Maybe I shit my appendix out. So it's gone. I shit a lot of things out. I mean, I've done that. I've taken a shit. Look, I was like, what the fuck is that? Well, it's out of my body, so who gives a fuck now?
Right. I'm good. Let's party. So what have you been up to these days, brother? What are you doing with the music? I'm
trying to do everything.
And congratulations on your third award, man. Congratulations.
Thanks. That's cool. I need to get a new pen because it's the only thing not standing up in my shelf. They had a little, because Scream Red Mutiny won awards. They had a little pen that keeps it propped up.
Yes.
So I put it on my shelf because I just bought a new shelf for all my movies, video games, DVDs, all that, Blu-rays, all that shit. And so my bookshelf, which you can barely see, it's right below where my toys are at. Yeah, I'm an adult.
We all got our toys, man.
Yeah, I know. I never grew up. And so there's a bottom shelf. I have my books and comic books at the bottom shelf. But in the top, in the second shelf, I put the 3 awards I got from the Tulsa Music Awards. Cool. And but I found out, I talked to Roger and Ryan, and they just said, "Hey, just go to the store. I think for $2 you can get a replacement pen." So I can, because right now it's just laying down, so it's like the redhead foster child,
right?
Looking, so.
Yeah, you'll find a replacement for it too. So you've obviously been putting out music consistently over the last few years. I gotta say, man, you're the last year, from what I've been hearing out of you, man, it's a definite growth. What do you attribute that to? I mean, your content, it's like you're getting older, and your content is becoming a little bit more mature.
I think so.
And thoughtful.
I had this conversation with a friend of mine because a friend of mine, and it's good to have friends like that. Like, they give you criticism, but they also give you a pat on the back. A friend of mine just says, like, "Man, I just feel like you're almost there," and all that. And I'm just like, "Oh, maybe I am, maybe I'm not, but I'm having a good time either way." So I told him I don't really care about all that fame stuff. I'll take the money, but I'm good on I'm good on the whole fame thing. So just like, I'd rather just be a nobody that makes a living from music. But I was telling him, and he said, "Man, but it just," I told him the only thing that kind of sucks, and I got over it when I thought about it, because I'm about a year past behind you, so I'm reaching the big 4-0 here in about a year, so but I thought about it though, because a lot of people say, hey, once you pass your 20s, your time's kind of up, But man,
They say that.
they say that. They say that they talk about it being a young man's game and stuff like that, and I totally, at some point agree with that. But I look at a lot of musicians from different genres, and I think their best material is really when they got to the 30s, and even like Everlast is one of my favorite. I think
he's fantastic.
Talented Alice's full gray beard. I think he's at least grandpa age, and he's even better than ever. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. I agree. He really got comfortable with himself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And his influences and what he likes to do. I really respect that.
Johnny Cash made music to the day he's died, and I love all his classics, but I love what he did. He did a 9 Inch Nail cover, and it's
right.
Fucking, I was at a karaoke bar last night. People are singing that.
Right.
He was what 80 years old when he wrote and made that song. So you know what I mean? So it's like, man, I feel like you only let age pull you down when you let it pull you down.
Well, that's what Johnny Cash took advantage of. I mean, he totally took advantage of this newer music that he could relate to himself. And most of the older people that I listen to, they're the type that frequent bars that you might hear mostly pop country music in per se. I don't want to necessarily label or stereotype anybody, but they don't even know about the 9 Inch Nails version that was original. And of course, if you take the two different versions and the two different voices and knowing these personalities that are doing these different versions, you can totally tell how it can relate to each other as well as individually. And that was the beauty of that song.
But exactly, man. But what I really thought about, and I told my friend this, I said, because he said, do you think maybe if you had the knowledge you had now, being maybe 25 or something, but I didn't start Had Enough until I was 29. So it wasn't till then I decided, hey, this is the style of music that I want to do and the way I want to do it. And that came from just frustrations with bands and all about that as well as I do.
For sure.
It's hard for 3 to 4 people to come together and saying, hey, we're all going to go this path. That's why a lot of bands don't make it, or don't make it, but they don't get as far as they could, because you might have 3 or 4 people that have a great time making music, but it's 3 or 4 people that have a different vision for where they want to go. And that's what makes it really hard.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why solo artists are like expanding and being as successful now, because it's one person can tell a story. He can hire other people if he needs other participants. But what really hit me, and this is because my friend asked me, what if you were 25 and you knew everything you knew now and you did everything? And I said, man, I wouldn't be making the same songs, because everything even songs I wrote 5 years ago, I was not experiencing that when I was in my 20s.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
I made a post earlier this year about how I listened to some music that I was a part of, recorded when I was in my 20s, and I was an angry kid. I was like, man, I know why I was angry, but it's just like, man, and it reached so many people, and people reacted to it in a way to where they felt safe reacting to the music I was a part of putting out, but I didn't feel safe for myself knowing that it came from my mind that I wrote it. So here I am, 40 years old, and I'm listening to this stuff, and I'm like, man, I feel really bad for that kid.
I definitely have. I've had that. I mean, shit, dude, when I was 29 and I started Had Enough, it's so different, because I found some of my old lyrics when I first started, and I was reading it, and I was like, whoever this guy is, he definitely does not understand song structure.
Right.
But I was starting my own. I didn't have a band where we all talked, hey, let's put this place. And it wasn't like I understood. It wasn't that I didn't have the verse, hook, bridge, and stuff like that. It was just the fact that when hip hop, we do 16 bar verses and stuff like that. It was like 17 bar verses or 13. It was odd structure, and it wasn't put together and stuff like that. And I'm just saying, I'm looking at me now, knowing what I know, and as a perfectionist as I am now, looking back how I did things then. And I was like, man, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing back then. But I learned. It was a learning process. But
Well, speaking of not knowing what the fuck people are doing sometimes, I got to bring out our guest for the night.
I like that introduction.
Guys, oh yeah. You kicked it off perfect. I was like, oh, perfect. Our guest tonight is Steve Murdock. He is a local Tulsa promoter. He is also a stage manager, and he is also somebody you do not want to fuck with unless you actually want to have a good, smooth, clean running show. So, Steve, welcome to the Sprout and Dusty Show. Please feel free to run your mouth about motherfuckers who don't know shit.
Over at
That's exactly why you're here, bro. Okay, so for many people that don't know,
all right, my soapbox is real big. Just so you know.
That's all right, man. We like soap around here. So
somewhere along the line, I'm gonna say fuck more than once. And you know, look, I just call them like I see them. All right, I have a very basic approach to stuff. It's very keep it simple, stupid with me. When I see people that start putting a whole lot of extra in there, you know, now you've just got that much more shit to have to keep up with, and you don't need it. You know, I've proven that you don't need that. You don't need all that extra sugar in the Kool-Aid. No. Anyway, I kind of sidetracked you there. I'm sorry. You there?
I think Sprout just froze.
Are you froze, Sprout? Uh-oh.
Oh. Uh-oh. It's just you and me now.
Just me and you, buddy.
Well, here, I'll ask you. Oh, okay. Sprout back.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the hell just happened.
Oh, I know, you just sitting there, you just kept kind of grinning, man. I thought,
wow. Oh, shit. All right. Well, hey.
All right.
Yeah, so I froze. Apparently, it's like, you know,
back now.
Man, Ma spaghetti. I guess you know it's on my shirt. I froze. Okay, so I was going to ask you about the Proving Ground stage because a lot of people don't know Steve Murdock ran a stage out at Rocklahoma, and it was called the Proving Ground. Why don't you tell people about your experience putting that together and what inspired you to do so?
Well, man, it's a long process. There's a lot of.
We got time. Cliff's notes that bitch.
Okay, well, all right. Well, I mean, really, the only way to tell it is to kind of start from the start. Really, a long time ago, I was kind of in and around the music scene in Tulsa. I used to bounce at a club in town called the Windjammer. A lot of the old heads will remember that place. It was a legit rock and roll bar at the time. Lots and lots of big bands played there. But anyway,
right.
I wasn't booking any shows or anything like that at the time, but I saw how things operated, you know.
Right.
So later on, divorce happened, and I got tired of sitting
as
around
it does sometimes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I got tired of sitting around the house, you know, watching the paint fade and you know, worrying about what the hell am I going to do next. So I started going out. I still knew a few people that were in town and they were still playing. So I went out and I caught a few shows, and I started noticing that when you would go to a show, there would be like 30 or 45 minutes in between bands, and there, you know, people are leaving.
Yeah.
There's no structure. There's nobody in there saying, look, this is what needs to happen here. You know, I mean, it was just a free for all, you know, and everybody's drunk and nobody gives a fuck. So, you know, I was like, well, you know, let me see what I can do, because I got aggravated with it, because when I go to a show, I'm going to a show to see music. I'm here to see show.
That's right.
Not, you know, I mean, I'm here also see my friends and give everybody hugs and all that shit. But I'm here to see some music. I'm not here to you know, watch some drunk guy, you know, whoever up there fucking around putting his drums together or putting an amp up and not knowing, nobody knows what the hell's going on. We can't find a guitar player, or you know, where the fuck is the microphone, or whatever the hell's going on.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
It is hard on my ADD, man. I mean, it was really hard on my ADD. So I decided I was going to put a show together. And it took me almost 3 months to get 4 bands convinced to come and do a show with me.
Right.
Nobody knew me. Nobody, you know, everybody's like, who the fuck is that guy?
Right.
So it took me a little while. In fact, I believe it was Dirty Crush, the Joint Effect. The Joint Effect.
Yes, the legendary John Halada's group. Yes.
777. I think it was 777 in there as well, and there was one other one. I can't remember who the fourth one was. And I put the thing together, man, and it worked out, and it came off on time, and it was structured, and the bands were still like, the fuck is this guy, you know, because nobody had ever done anything. No, there was never any structure. No, you know, the local, you know, with the exception of probably the Vanguard, the Canes, and the Shrine.
Yeah, the more organized venues there. Yeah.
Yeah, none of the other places could even spell stage manager or or anything like that, man. I mean, it was just, you know.
I agree, man. Hey, you're only look, listen. Some of y'all in Tulsa might think this man's talking shit right now, but there's truth in this here shit talking. All right,
so much truth.
Some of y'all.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've got love for all the venues, man, and the bars, and you know, everybody that's got a place that can plug in an amp and they're putting on music, man. Much respect to you, man.
Right.
Get shit together, though. If you're gonna have music, I mean, I say that with much love and all my heart. I truly
man, I felt that shit, bro. I felt that, bro.
I feel if you're going to have music in your establishment, then you need to be prepared to have music in your establishment.
That's right.
You know, it goes both ways. Just because you call up somebody and say, hey, you know, I need you to come over here and play, that doesn't mean that it can happen. You know, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot behind the scenes. So anyway, I started putting shows together, and I started putting a structure behind it, and then it started getting easier and easier and easier to put the show together. And it didn't take
the repetition, yeah.
Right. It doesn't take now. It doesn't take 3 months to get 4 bands to do a show. I can put a show together in a day as long as I have an open date. It goes together real quick. Well, I say a day. If all the planets are in line, a day. It might take me 3 days. Because we're always waiting on a fucking drummer to confirm whether or not he can play or not that day. You know? So,
damn drummers.
Look, I'm a drummer at heart. I can't play. I can't keep time at all. But damn, we're waiting on the timekeeper. You know,
right.
Come on.
Waiting on the timekeeper. That's the irony. The irony.
So, you know, I started putting them together, and then I decided that I wanted to try to really get serious about it. And there was a lady in town. I got much respect for her. A lot of people, maybe not so much. I don't know. I don't care. I've got respect for her because she was able to teach me things and put me in a position that things were much easier for me to get to where I needed to be. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Sunshine. Hands down. Sunshine.
Hey, she was always a cool lady to me. You know, she's always business minded, and that's like it's crazy when you run into such professionalism. And
she's very professional. She's very you're gonna be on time. See,
you gonna be on time.
and you better damn well read your email, because every piece of information that you think that you need that you're going to ask in 3 days,
right?
It's already in that email. Read the damn email.
Read the damn email.
Dude, I can't even begin to tell you how many times I saw people ask her ridiculous things that was in their information packet that she would send to them. See?
Right.
So I got hooked up with her onto her crew, on the Axis crew.
Right. Axis stage.
Right, which allowed me to work the Axis stage at Rocklahoma. And the amount of experience that I gained there as far as running a show in a festival setting and in a
timely manner,
it was priceless. I mean, I couldn't pay to go to school to do that. I mean, you probably could pay to go somewhere to do that, but that tuition is going to be high.
Right.
So I got to go out there and I got to, experience things and be around the backside of the production of a show.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I love being. That's the whole logistics of putting all that together.
It's a rush for you. I could tell, man.
Yeah.
So I worked on her crew for, let's see, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 5 years. Okay. And then in 2018, her and we split amicably, not in a
right.
Not in a fuck off kind of way. No, nothing like that.
Right.
It was and the reason that we did that is because over here on my side, doing Murdock Productions, things were getting kind of muddled between Murdock Productions and Axis Entertainment. All right, to where I needed to be off over here doing my own thing, which was my plan was to be doing the Proving Grounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I initially tried to go for it in 2018, but the timing wasn't right. The money wasn't there. Just the logistics.
The norm.
It wasn't, the time wasn't right. And look, my grandpa told me a long time ago, man, you better walk slow and look twice so you don't step in a pile of shit.
There you go. There you go.
So it wasn't right. The time wasn't right. All right. So I waited, and I took a step back, and I kind of reevaluated. I made a few changes on how I did a few things, rounded up a few sponsors, did some more talking with the powers that be at Rocklahoma.
Right.
And got to where the timing was right. So we went out there in 2019, and look, I'm not a braggart kind of guy. I'm not like, hey, look at me, none of that shit. But I can tell you right now, we killed that shit.
Yes, you did, Mr. Murdock. Yes. And for those out there who don't know, Rocklahoma is among one of the country's largest regional music festivals, primarily hard rock and heavy metal. And it takes a lot to even begin to do business out there, the red tape. So for somebody grassroots like Steve Murdock to be able to do that once, it's a fantastic feat.
I mean, that was the logo on the stage, the Proving Grounds, of the people, by the people, for the music.
There it is. You heard it there, folks. You heard it.
So we get out there, and and we do moderately well as far as just the production side of things and all of that. All right. We did get their attention.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the way things are structured out there with insurance policies and property owners and the hey, it's the world's largest entertainment company. They have rules. They have things, the way they do things. I did get their attention, but unfortunately, we're not going to be able to go back in the same way. There may be some other things that come open for the Murdock Productions crew. But we got their attention. It wasn't in a negative way.
Right.
It wasn't in a negative way. I think we surprised them. Okay, which wasn't in like I said, it's not in a bad way, but they weren't expecting me to come out there
swinging the way you did.
I was fighting Tyson, son. I was. So, but they know who I am now. AEG.
Good.
I literally had a nice long conversation with the head of AEG. All right, that may not seem like a whole lot to a whole lot of people that are
that's
higher up the ladder.
That's still some big stuff, man. That's still some pretty big stuff.
Well, I mean, there's some people that I'm sure are listening to your podcast. That may not be such a big deal, but to me, that's fucking huge, because I mean, dude, at the end of the day, it's just me and some people that I know that are willing to come with me and follow a dream of providing a platform for bands, local, regional. I had hundreds of submissions from 8 different countries.
Whoa. I remember that. 33
slots. Okay. I had almost 600 submissions from 8 different countries. Okay.
Wow.
None of the bands were huge. None of them were huge. All right. Probably none of them were on the radio anywhere. Maybe their hometown on the 12 o'clock noon lunch show.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They're on though. They're on.
I mean, that's not a bad thing. Cause fuck, you're on the radio, man.
There you go.
So I wanted to be able to provide a platform for these bands to come in a local and a regional and a national level. When I say a national level, I mean they're coming in from Washington State, and traveling across the fucking nation. To me, that's a you're a national touring band now. I mean, if you're traveling halfway across the nation to do a string of shows, you're a nationally touring band. You may not be your name may not be Iron Maiden, but
you may not be making Maiden money, but
so that was my target, was to get to those bands where you never know who is going to be at a show, right? You never know. You never, Doc Rock may be at a show, and he may see a band. He may see little old Brandon right there up there on stage holding his microphone, looking like fucking.
No joke. Hey,
looking
fat kid, can you bring up that picture of Brandon? Look at that shit right there. Look at that baby face motherfucker right there. Anybody else knows some parents that would let their 10-year-old son tattoo their arm? Come on, anybody else know that? Seriously, look at that guy.
8, 37, 36, 35, 30. I am 34 in that picture. I am 34 years old in that picture.
He's looking like
Oh man, we had enough, man. We had to fuck with him, man. That picture had me dead today, bro. I was like,
you never know. I mean, really, you never know who's going to be at the show, right? And at Rocklahoma, all right. So on the average, over the course of the weekend, over the course of the 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 days that people are out there, there's somewhere between sometimes 75,000, maybe 65,000 people out there over the course of the weekend.
Right.
That's a bunch, right? That's a huge opportunity for bands to put themselves in front of people. I don't give a shit. I hit up Brandon about going out there with him.
I remember that.
It doesn't make a shit. It's a rock and roll festival. All right. Check this out. I had a fucking rockabilly surf band out of Wichita, Kansas, on the proving grounds.
Ghost Town Strays. Ghost Town Strays. Much love to all them, Tommy and all them, man. Much love.
And then I had a band out of Texas. Texas. Yeah, Not My Master. Okay, this dude has got, I mean, the mohawk from hell. This thing is huge. And they're up there playing music that'll peel the skin right off your body. So there was a huge, gap there, a huge, what am I saying? Range of genres.
Right, yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
There's definitely some versatility the last few years.
Yeah,
and Brandon, what do you think about the introduction of certain hip hop artists into a festival like Rocklahoma? Because I know a lot of people that listen to hard rock and heavy metal, they do have their favorite hip hop artists as well. Yeah. Many of them. And when I think it was Machine Gun Kelly that played, and I think, was it Yellow Wolf that played or something like that?
Yellow Wolf, I know Tech Nine did.
Yes.
I want to say there was others. I do know there were Rocklahoma regulars, because I remember being on the Facebook groups and people going, "Hey, it's Rocklahoma, it ain't Raplahoma." And man, here's the thing though. Here's kind of where I could kind of combat that.
Okay.
That whole narrative is,
well, son. Go ahead.
Well, you got Run DMC was in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There was an interview that Chuck D from Public Enemy did. And they're asked about remember how hip hop, like in the 80s and 90s, it was all groups. Right. It wasn't a group. It was an MC and a DJ, but they performed like they were a group, like they were a band, you know what I mean? And they had hype men, so they had a group. So you had more people on stage that were kind of bringing more energy, right?
Right.
Well, what Chuck D was saying, he goes, in the 80s and 90s, hip-hop groups were able to compete with rock and roll bands because they were groups, because they brought more than just one guy and an iPad, so to speak. Like, you had groups like NWA and Public Enemy and Run DMC who could compete. Well, I mean, it wasn't so much competition; they got attention. Like Aerosmith did a collaboration with Run DMC. Biohazard collaborated with Onyx. I talked about this in a Facebook post about how heavy metal and rock and roll and hip hop had a really long history of working together, and the genres are not that far.
No,
as much as
even in principle, they're not very far apart.
I mean, I could give you a long list, and it still goes on to this day. The drummer of Sepultura, I always mispronounce her name. Well, Sepultura, they're one of my favorite thrash metal bands of all time. He's a DJ, and he's a hip hop DJ. He plays a lot of underground and old school hip hop. And there's all kinds of. I mean, it's kind of crazy, and even you look at new metal. There's a lot of hip hop influence in new metal, like Slipknot,
808s, and things like that.
Yeah.
I love that shit, man. I get off on that. I love that stuff, man.
I've always loved that. But I mean, obviously, it's obvious in bands like Limp Bizkit, Rage Against the Machine, but but there's a lot of it in Slipknot, and a lot of people don't really talk about that. But and as many times as Corey Taylor has actually straight up admitted in interviews, he goes, I'm highly inspired by rap music. But as far as Rocklahoma goes, I'm just saying, man, if you can rock a crowd, you belong at Rocklahoma. I don't care if you're one person or if you got a band.
Amen, dude.
I mean, to me, the word rock just goes for any genre. If you can rock a crowd and you can give people a good time, then you're rock and roll as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, and why not have that type of diversity? I mean, I'm not saying you're not going to have the same types of hard rock and metal at the same festival. You're just not. There's something there for everybody usually. Yeah. And why not the new school?
I went to Rocklahoma the first 2 years. I've missed out on it the last few years, though, unfortunately. But that had a lot to do with money. But when it first started, I had a friend who got me free tickets. That's just the only way I was able to go. But I went, and when Rocklahoma started, it was all 80s hair metal bands. That's what it all was. There's
you can only do the 80s hair metal bands so many times.
True.
Because there's that many 80s hair metal bands
yeah.
that are still around, you know.
A lot of them are just, you know what I mean, that they can't really tour like they can to. They're getting up there.
Right.
But what I liked it. I liked the fact because I was born in 1981, so it's kind of like here's the bands I didn't get to see that I did grow up liking. A lot of them just quit touring around the time. So
That's true, man.
These were like my mom and dad, like were my age liking these bands. So I got to see them live. A little older, but I think they still had it. I still think Poison still kind of has it a little bit. So it was enjoyable.
I actually
young, but I enjoyed it. But I think the way Rocklahoma, the people who are the powers to be, who made the decisions, I think they're real smart in saying, hey, we can keep a few of these bands coming in, but let's get the bands that are selling tickets that are relevant. So you see the evolution of rock and roll now. But
right.
I mean, you got to sell tickets and pick whoever is hitting hard on the radio and who really people want to see. And I think that's what they did. I know a lot of people talk a lot of shit. They're like, "Oh, I hate the lineup, da da da," but you know what, man?
That.
You got 50 bands, so
pick one and shut the
pick
fuck
one
up.
or two. Yeah, exactly. And my thing is, I always had a blast at Rocklahoma, and honestly, the only bands I remember that I was stoked to see was Seven Dust and I think Lucana Coil.
Lacuna Coil, they were good.
Yeah, from Italy. Yeah,
yep.
I believe that was them. If I'm mistaken, but I was kind of fucked up, but I'm pretty sure that was them.
No, it was Lacuna Coil. You're right.
I think so. Sometimes if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was them.
I've got about $75 worth of opinion to throw in on what you guys were just saying right there.
Okay.
Go ahead, brother.
Let's go.
All right, so check this out. I see it every year. You were just talking about it. People bitching about the lineup, the Rocklahoma lineup. All right. Now, before I get into this, I'm gonna tell you something right now. I am in no way speaking for AEG or Rocklahoma or anything like that. All right. This is just my opinion.
So this is serious. We got a fucking disclaimer. This is serious. Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead, bro.
Let's go. I'm just saying that if you want to get in there and bitch about the lineup, all right. If you want to say, well, they should have got this band or that band or this band. I'm not going to name no band names. We all, there's big fucking bands out there that everybody wants to see. Okay.
Right.
Now, 99.9% of the time, the people that are doing that kind of bitching are people that have zero clue about what the fuck they're talking about. Okay. They have no clue. All right.
Thank you.
They have never, not once, put a show together. They think they may have, because they brought in the kid's band down the street for her daughter's birthday party. So now they're a booking agent. Okay? So,
backyard booking agents.
Right. So what ends up happening is that they don't take into consideration their scheduling conflicts. Just because a band's website says that they're not playing on that particular day. Oh, well, guess what? Maybe their drummer's getting an appendix out.
Never know.
Maybe he's in fucking Maui fishing, and there's these people have families too. Just because they're up there playing rock star, that don't mean that they're not wanting to go over to grandma's house and have some fucking grits.
Hey man, I love the grits.
So the scheduling conflicts are there. Okay.
Yeah.
There's this other thing, and this is a word that a lot of people don't really understand. All right, it's called budget. Okay.
Word.
There's only X amount of dollars. Okay. And with those X amount of dollars, you can only do X amount of whatever, because these big, huge bands that you're wanting to go see, money, son, money. Yeah. Okay. I don't give a shit what anybody says. If you want Metallica at a festival in that type of setting or anything like that, that's a minimum $2 million band. It's fact.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that budget I cannot speak again. I can't speak for Rocklahoma's budget or anything like that, but I seriously have to think that by now, given the consensus of the public and everybody bitching every fucking year, get Metallica, get Slipknot, you should have done this, you should have done that, and fuck you and Rocklahoma and bada. Go put your own goddamn festival together. Go spend the fucking millions of dollars to buy the property and build the infrastructure and bring the spend the millions of dollars to run the electricity to all of that.
Yep.
Get on your horse and ride, cowboy. I mean, it's just they do what the best that they can do, and I think that they do a great fucking job.
Yeah.
I mean, considering what they're up against every year. Every year. The fucking weather. They're up.
Shit.
They are rolling the fucking dice.
Tornado came through like a motherfucker. There was $1.5 million in damage.
Right.
Yeah, I was out there every year that stormed its ass off and standing there watching Slayer in 2 feet of mud. I mean,
and you know what? They could just as easily because that property. It's private property.
Right.
Those people that own that property could just as easily sell that motherfucker and move to Bahamas, and it's over.
Mm-hmm.
See, next thing you know, it's a fucking subdivision.
Right.
So everybody bitching about the lineup every year. If you don't, just because you don't like every fucking band on there, hey, step outside your little comfort zone there, Cupcake, and go watch another band. Pay for the ticket so that later on next year, now maybe they can afford, or whatever the logistics.
Steve, bitching took over baseball as America's pastime in 2001. I think I remember the exact moment it happened.
I'm not trying to be an asshole about it or anything.
No, you're not being an asshole. I agree with you, man. It's like,
yeah.
Okay, so people want to complain about ticket prices for this or that. Most people that are really into what's going on, they're going to plan for the amount of money they're going to have to spend to do what they love when it comes to live shows and concerts and stuff. But there's a lot of people out there that never go out and see a show at all, running their mouths about ticket prices. Well, why are you complaining about higher ticket prices when you're not even buying records? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how that works. When people started stealing music, they had to make the money elsewhere somehow. Right. Start actually supporting these artists that you say you want to see. Buy their records. That's the only thing these people really notice is the numbers. So support your favorite artists. I don't give a damn what level they're on, but just make sure when you go see your favorite artist, you buy a CD or you buy a t-shirt or a sticker. Take a piece of that band home with you, man. That's what you got to do. Support. And people want to complain about everything. And it's just like, geez, what do you want? Blood? Fuck, man. I mean, you know what? You want to go see Blood in a cool manner? I mean, check out Alice Cooper, man. I saw him get decapitated in Tulsa. That was great. That was fantastic. Pay for that, just support, man. That's all it takes. And that's what people recognize the most.
The problem that the market is flooded with music.
Oh, yeah, since the internet, yeah.
Dude, ever since the internet came in, everybody that has two fingers can make music. I mean, I can't, but
I got 10 toes too, motherfucker.
If you can get on there and do this, people are making music, and
right.
And, now you got the Spotify's and all the big streaming markets and all that. And man, there is so much out there. There is so much out there.
Oh yeah.
It just, you can find dude, you can listen to any genre. You can pick a fucking genre and pretty much listen to it forever and not listen to the same thing twice.
Right.
I mean, think about that.
I mean,
now you're going to throw your hat in the ring as a musician into that market. and think that you're just going to be, holy shit, we're Led Zeppelin overnight.
What the kids don't know or remember is that back in the day, there was that similar kind of ignorance when a band thought, you know what, all we had to do is put ourselves in front of the right person. Well, that was true to an extent.
Sometimes it still is. Sometimes it still is.
You just got to do it on the internet instead of having some record label spend money to send their A&R guy somewhere to schmooze you.
Right. Well, that's where unique situations like Rocklahoma come in. If I'm able to get the Proving Grounds back out there, or if I'm able to get the Proving Grounds anywhere, which I'm working on, the same concept will apply to where it's trying. I'll be out there waving a fucking flag of whoever I can wave it at to try to get somebody from somewhere to come out there and just sit there on their ass and be catered to for 2 or 3 days. And all they got to do is listen to music and have 6 or 8 contracts in their hand.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, I actually got a question for you. This, we might kind of have to raise the asshole meter here a little bit for you. I hope you don't mind.
Woohoo! Oh, man.
This is good. This is a good
Bless
question.
you had enough. Bless you, brother. This is getting
all right.
Good.
But I think this needs to be talked about, and I definitely have my 2 cents on it. Hope I don't offend anybody. Actually, no, I don't care. Okay, so Steve, your experience goes mostly to bands,
right? I've worked with a few
hip
hop.
Yeah, we know.
I've worked with a few hip hop.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
Go ahead.
So there is a hip hop show that you did stage management for. It was Up Next Fest, I believe, or was it? No, it was Winterfest.
I've done a few of them. It was one of those 2. Yeah,
it was a Mugen show. I know that.
Right.
How would you, in your own words, so what's the difference in your opinion to how a show in your field? To a band, where it be rock or metal and a hip hop show, like what was going through your mind as far as the difference, as far as the musicianship, the performance, the way it's run, all that kind of shit?
Well, as far as the musicianship, I'm not a musician, so I can't really speak on that. They do what they do.
Yeah.
As far as their performance, again, I don't perform, so they do what they do. Hey, man.
Okay.
Knock stuff out.
Yeah.
As far as the behind the scenes and the get your shit togetherness, it's like night and day.
Elaborate.
It really is, man.
Elaborate.
Go ahead.
So, all right. So whenever I put a show together, the reason that the show is structured to where, all right, let's just say it's 4 bands on a show.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start at the top of the hour. Each band, they're going to have a 45-minute set, and then there's going to be a real strict 15-minute window that we change out. Take this band off and put the next band on. 15 minutes. It can be done. I've done it. Don't tell me it can't be done. I give 2 shits what you say. It can be done.
Right.
If somebody wants to complain that it's all because of the drums, look, there's a guy here in town, Mike DiPetrello. He's got one of the biggest fucking drum kits you'll ever run across. We can put that bitch together.
What is it with you and drummers?
Less than 15 minutes. It can be done.
Mike's the man, though. I love that guy.
So that 15-minute window is crucial because after about 10, 15 minutes, people start to leave.
Yes.
So I mean, you can watch it happen. I mean, you can.
I've watched it happen.
Yeah. So, and the bands understand this now. See, that goes back to a long time ago. It was just I didn't see any structure at any shows. Well, it's kind of when I do one, that's how we do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I go do this hip hop show, right?
Yeah.
All right, they're doing their thing. They're doing, there's like 87 of them on this 3-hour show.
Yeah.
How many mics, Steve? How many mics?
Pretty close.
See, here's the thing. Every one of them thought they were a fucking rock star. Okay. And okay, that's fine.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen
it.
But the reality of it is, nobody backstage gives a shit the people that are running the stage, the people that are trying to pull the show off, the people that are trying to make it happen on time, don't give a shit how big a rock star you think you are on your block.
Word.
Okay?
I mean, Steve's had to talk to me some type of way a couple of times. Real talk. I mean,
there was several of them that look, you go on stage at 9 o'clock. I'm just pulling numbers here. Let's just say he goes on stage at 9 o'clock. I need everybody to check in with the stage manager. Okay. I need to know that you're here 30 minutes prior, just so I know you're here.
Right.
So I'm not to mention, I didn't know but maybe 3 of these 87 different artists that were playing that night. All right. So I don't know who they are.
Right.
No clue. I'm running around asking people, hey, who's Little Drippy and who's this guy and who's that guy? I don't know who these guys are.
I'll say this.
Drippy.
Okay, so I got to throw this in there. When I got the word that you were stage manager, I didn't I didn't know everybody on the show. I just knew a few people, and I remember telling them, "Bro, I know you don't know who Steve Murdock is, but don't." I was like Dennis Hopper and True Romance. Quit fucking around. I literally said, "Don't fuck around." He was just like, "You will get your feelings hurt." I've seen it happen. You don't want that. I said, you don't want that stab to the ego. Trust me. You can't take it. I know that for a fact. So I said, when he says get on stage, get your fucking ass on stage. You know what time you're performing.
Right.
You know when it's me, when it comes to hip-hop shows, if it's Boogan, which it's Ryan or it's me, they know when they perform. At least 3 days to the show at the latest. Usually it's a
Little Drippy knows. That's the point. Little
Drippy knows when to perform. I'll throw this in there. I don't know.
My wounds hurt.
I'll throw this in as far as hip hop rap shows go, just on my thing, because I come from being in bands, and so I carry that to what I do now as far as merchandising, as far as doing sound check, as far as getting there early. And I'm not throwing shade on nobody or nothing like that, but I just feel like these things need to be said. I play way too many rap shows where I'm the only one with merchandise. I have a hard time understanding that. I play too many rap shows where too many people are playing their song. They're dancing around with the microphone, swinging here and there, or they're rapping over the pre-recorded vocals. Like, I know with us, we do pre-recorded tracks, but man, I fully believe in having a straight instrumental, maybe having a few backing tracks, but just don't make it look like you're doing karaoke. It even worse.
I agree, brother. I agree.
People do karaoke, they don't even have the vocals on the track, and they actually got the microphone to, I don't know their mouth. I've seen it, and here's the thing, man. Some people, that's just the way they want to perform, and that's totally up to them. But to me, I'm sitting here like in a rock band or a metal, you couldn't get away with that. Even as
I've never gotten away with it.
You couldn't. And I know we're a different genre, but at the same time, like, I think old school, I think Public Enemy, I think Run DMC, they didn't do that shit. Back then, everything was live. The DJ was spinning every song live. So
when those guys do that, when they do that, it fucking looks stupid.
It does. I mean,
it really does. I'm not trying to bash them. I mean, they're at least they're fucking getting up there and fucking doing it. I'm not. I'm back here trying to fucking make their shit happen.
Yeah.
But damn.
I'm personally not a fan of it. I have some friends who prefer that way, and I said, whatever, that's what you do. But I said, man, do you know how much better you would look and sound if you did it the proper way? In fact, this is what a lot of them. Here's the thing, and Murdock, you will definitely chime in on this. The excuse that I get for why a lot of them do that, and they've said it, and I've heard them say it in interviews, and I've heard them say it to me, and we've had debates over it. They say, when we go to a venue, we have no idea what the sound system is going to be like. And they say a lot of times the mic isn't loud enough. They said, we bring our songs with the vocals so that way they can hear us. And I said, well, bro, they're not hearing you. They're hearing the pre-recorded you. So I mean, you're Milli Vanilling the fucking audience, and I consider that a ripoff. That's my opinion. You know, I'm just saying, hey, you have your reasons for it. But I told him this exactly. I said that's a total different mindset that you have compared to bands, because I book bands many times, and I love multi-genre shows. I love booking rappers with bands, and everyone loves it. That's done it with me. But if a band came to a show and the sound wasn't up to par, they're not fucking playing. Straight the fuck up. They're like, no, we're not doing this. A lot of bands are just like, we can't. Like, it's not. So, and I tell them, you guys got to show. If you don't know what the sound system, show up early for sound check. At least try to make it work best to your abilities. But if you are as fucking famous as you think you are, then and the sound system isn't up to par, then I don't know. Don't fucking play.
Well, I know one thing.
Or if you're going to a place that, I mean, we were at the fucking Vanguard, dude. They got a legit.
Yeah. That place is legit with the sound. It is.
All right. No question. If you're a musician, you should know. Take your ass up there to the soundboard or get on that microphone that you got shoved down your fucking throat and say, "Hey, can you turn my monitor up?" Or,
it's that simple.
It is literally that fucking simple.
I had a debate.
Turn mine up a little bit.
That was another debate I had. Was with the guy said, "Hey, man, a lot of times, and there's rap shows where I've been on there where they do 40, 50 acts or something like that, and I think what they were saying was too many. I don't like rap shows that have that many acts. That's another thing I don't like. It's a long night. It's excruciating, but that's another story. But he said, like, hey, no one ever gets a sound check. And I told him, it's like, look, man, I played those shows, and those shows I never got a sound check, but I never lip synced, and I never rapped on my vocal tracks. What I did was I tell the engineer to turn the mic up. It's the studio engineer, the sound engineer works for you. For the
right.
It's you're not going to piss them off. You say, hey, can you turn the vocals up a little bit?
That's what he's there for.
His job.
That's what he gets paid for. So it's just like, but I played a lot of those rap shows. There is no sound engineer.
I mean, I've been a touring
makeshift. Hey, Sprout knows what I'm talking about. We've done those shows. So,
I've been a touring musician for many years, and I've played large venues and I played really small venues. Mm-hmm. And honestly, regardless of genre, there does come that level of professionality we all have to have as far as being musicians and working with crew. Because if you don't have those general knowledge things, there's just no way of advancing into a higher plane or a higher level of what you're doing. And I understand hip hop, in a lot of sense, is a lot of vibrato for a lot of these young kids. So I know tons of young rappers. They have this vision of themselves, and it is a positive vision, but at the same time, they don't know how to manifest it into something that can help them in business sense. I mean, just because you think you're awesome doesn't mean that the sound man has heard your music and knows exactly what he should do for you. You know, they don't realize that there's people there doing jobs, and there's these jobs that these people are doing. There's people, they need to take advantage of what's going on there. And I think people in a band sense, as far as rock, metal, and even some pop acts that have instruments, they have that understanding because they have to know what it takes for their instruments to project in certain situations, as to where a hip hop guy only has, their DJ who may take care of that himself, and the MC himself not necessarily have to worry about it. And I've always been a big fan of you and anybody else that does not use backing tracks for an entire rap track. There's some of these new cats that I actually like today as far as their music, But man, I just can't
too.
bear to watch music videos of them because all they're doing is running around getting the crowd hype and losing breath and not even doing their act. And there is a way to perform these. Some of the most hype shit I've heard in the recent years that is kind of born from hip hop and metal combined is trap metal. I love that shit.
Me too.
I love it to death. It just like there's just nothing like being screamed at to hip hop. I don't know if people like that sort of thing, but I love it. But I
definitely
I really do believe that live performances can come across. A lot of it is learning how to actually perform your content and your lyrics. I mean, that's just the way it goes in hard rock and heavy metal. I don't know if kids are paying attention to whether or not certain people are actually rapping or rhyming or not. All they know is how they feel, which is generally the result you want. But the only spot where I criticize as far as any of that is I think things could be a whole lot better if you heard the words coming out of the MC's mouth.
That's my big thing, man. And I totally agree with you. My big thing for me, and I try to inspire that for other artists in my genre, definitely the younger cats. As I say, we just got to keep we got to keep raising the bar, and not just for ourselves, but for other people. And I do cardio every day, the day of the show. I stay really dehydrated because breathing's a big part of it. And that's another reason I've heard that some dudes rely on vocal tracks because they're like,
they're not writing to breathe.
No,
man. Here's the thing, man.
Don't get me wrong. I don't know how to write a fucking song. I could, but I know enough to know that there's a cadence. You know, it's like da 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 da. You got to breathe. You know,
yeah, definitely. But
they're jumping around. You know, when they're up there, you know, they're up there aerobicizing. You can't do that.
Yeah,
I've got a question though. I'm going to go back to a thing you were talking about a minute ago. Yeah. The bravado. In the hip-hop scene, okay.
Yeah.
That same show, okay. Two different times that I had an incident with two different guys. All right. Neither one of them were really ready. As far as, you know, they weren't ready for their set, and they weren't really ready to talk to me either. But
who's ever ready to talk to you, Steve?
Right? No shit. No news from you is good news.
So I'm talking to this guy, and I'm like, you know, I'm looking for him, and I finally find him, right? And I'm like, dude, you're going on. You know, it's your time
now. Yeah.
And he's about this big. You know, little bitty. Both of them were little bitty fellas, right? And they're talking like, you know, like this shit don't stink. Like,
yeah.
You know, who are you, and why are you talking to me like I need to be up on stage right now? You know, and well, I told one of them that I've ate burritos bigger than him.
Oh God!
But the other one, he kind of got quiet, and he went and got up on the stage and did his thing, right? And then later on in the night, by the end of the night, I'm any show, it don't matter. I'm up to here with it. I'm ready to go home. I need a sandwich. I probably need a joint. You know, it's just
one of them days.
You know, he gets real pissy about it. You know, I'm so and so, and I'm this and I'm that, and I'm like, dude, I don't care. I said 30 minutes before I came here, I rubbed one out, and it weighed more than you. But you know, I don't understand why they think that it has to be this big production about who they are.
I ain't fucking with you, Steve. I ain't fucking with you, man. Oh man.
But I don't understand the
Oh.
mentality. Okay, because look, I've worked with musicians that are incredibly good, like musicians that seriously could be playing on a much higher level, and getting paid well.
Right.
To
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
And they're not like that.
No.
You know, so I don't understand why Little Drippy you know, just because just because his mama thinks he's good does not mean that he is.
Right.
You know, so I don't understand why that carries over so much. I mean, I really don't. I don't understand that, because where I come from, that's disrespectful as fuck for people to act like that. You know, I mean, it really is. It really is, especially whenever it's in that type of setting. And if you're late for your set, all you're doing is fucking the band behind you, the act behind you, whether it's a band, whether it's a hip hop artist, whatever it is, you're fucking the people behind you that are coming next. You know, because now you're fucking up the rotation. You know, it's like passing the joint to the right. You don't do that. It goes to the left. You know?
Oh man, I'll smoke to that shit.
Be respectful. Be respectful of the people. I guess what I'm saying is be respectful of the people that are on the show with you, and the people that are there trying to produce the show for you. See,
right?
Yeah. There's a whole lot that goes into it. You know, there's chicken noodle soup got a whole bunch of shit in it, not just chicken.
Right.
So
it's true. It's true.
They got to think about that stuff, man, and all that. Check that fucking attitude at the door, or check it at the steps going onto the stage. You know, nobody backstage gives a shit. I don't know. Nobody. The only people that give a shit backstage are people that you are paying to swing on your nuts. That's it.
Right.
Because the people at that venue that work there 5, 6, 7 days a week, and you're just stopping in. All you are is next, motherfucker.
Yeah. I'll throw in. I definitely have certain pats on the back and then certain criticisms about about I pick certain artists for shows. Man, the people I pick, they show up on time. They perform properly. They're cool as fuck. You can have a beer with them. You can laugh with them. They'll fucking show you love. They'll introduce your friends they'll introduce their friends to you, and vice versa. I tell artists, I tell all the time, I was like, man, perform well, be on time, be professional, and just be a cool motherfucker, man. Be someone that people want to hang out with. And I said, you will, you know what I mean? You can at least be kind of okay musically. But man, if people can really vibe with you on a personal level, it'll do a lot for you. But these guys happen to be really good performers, and I've had people talk shit, and I tell them, like, man, I'll admit I'm picky as fuck when I book a show.
Who are some of your favorite locals to book on your shows?
I don't want to deal with because I don't want to deal with what Murdock's talking about. I don't. So I just want to throw that out there.
Who are some of your favorite locals to play with or like perform with in Tulsa?
Okay, that's easy. Spades is definitely number one. Well, I don't want to make
vacation.
I mean, I love the dude. I don't want to make it like a top. I'm not trying to make it a popularity contest, but he's one of my favorites to work with. Shout out anybody, dude. Yeah, Spades. He's one of my favorites to work with. And he gets excited, man. When I offer him a show, he's like, "Thank you, bro." Like it's like he won the lottery. I love that kind of passion, that kind of energy. You know, it's. I
had a long talk with him at the Blackbird about a week or so ago. We were just sitting there bullshitting. Pretty cool guy. Yeah, he is. He's real good. So Spades, I like working with Fritzy.
I like Fritz. He's good.
He's very good, and he came into the whole hip hop game pretty similar to me. He has some musician background, so he came in with merch. Music videos and albums. So he came in with the right mentality, but he was also raised by business owners. His parents were both business owners, so he has the
Okay.
right. He was raised correctly, and he's using it. So I like Fritzy. Bradley Eugene is a great performer.
I like
close
that dude
friend
too,
of mine.
man. He gets
Yeah, he's
down,
fun.
man. He gets
Bradley
down.
Eugene,
Man. I
man.
didn't know he could dance like that. That dude's got some fucking moves. Every time I've seen him, like, you know, we've always been kicking it and
I know
not
why.
so in intense situations, but sure enough, on stage, he's a whole other animal, man.
well, he used to be a male stripper. That's why.
Oh, no shit. Man,
Well,
I'll have to tell I got one male stripper
I don't
story.
think that's a secret. But if it did, Bradley, my apologies. I just outed you, but I'm pretty sure you want people to. I'm pretty sure he's told people that before.
Bradley, don't get mad. This couldn't possibly be salt sprinkling, man. This couldn't possibly.
Bro.
You can dance, man. You got some dance moves, bro.
So Bradley, man, who else?
I thought you had to be 6 feet tall to be a stripper.
Man, I'll tell that story on another episode. Totally, I'll tell that my one male dancing story.
No, man.
Oh no, we
Bradley got some skills.
Oh no, you done open that one up now. Come on.
Oh no, I'll tell that one later. No, for real. The 100th podcast, I'll tell that story. Trust me. Our 100th episode, I'll tell that story, man. But I'll tell it in grave detail.
But I'll throw a couple other guys in. Frank Thompson's good to work with.
Yes.
There's a couple Oklahoma City guys. There's Patch Flowers. There's Ollie Ray Ben. There's Ty Stacks and a guy named Wolf. They're all They're all fun. And Ty Stacks, he's a promoter as well. He's doing really, really well. And he always brings me out to Oklahoma City, and he's really growing a scene out there. I mean, he's not as hardcore as Murdock, but he does a good job. So, but no one's as hardcore as Murdock, though.
I'm a teddy bear.
Right, sure.
Teddy bear my ass.
They're all great guys. They know what to do. They bring
Steve Murdock is as soft as 180 grit sandpaper on your ass cheek.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
Yeah.
Look, both of you guys know. I'll be the first one to jump in to help somebody out. I'll be the first one to come up and give you a hug if you need it. Okay?
Yeah.
But I'll also be the first one to tell you that you're doing some stupid shit.
Yeah.
It balances out that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, fellas, I'm gonna have to wrap up this show here pretty quick. But before we get all to the informalities of the show, I'd like to thank you guys for coming on. Brandon, you've been an excellent co-host. Thank you for covering up for my black ass while I froze for about 45 seconds. Shit, man, you've been an excellent co-host. And Steve, thank you for coming on to the show and man, just sharing your stories with us, and it's just hilarious, dude. You're somebody I looked up to in the Tulsa scene, man, and somebody I highly respected. Or still respect. I have
respect for both of you guys, man. I have much love for both of you guys. You know, but the three of us do have a history together in the Tulsa scene.
Yes.
A lot of great times. We also have a lot of really tough times that we're kindred with. You know, and
true.
That will always be, and I cherish that. I really do. I consider both of you guys to be good friends, man. And you know, I say a lot of things, and I say a lot of things harsh. I don't ever mean to intentionally be mean to anybody. But
never.
But I also am a firm believer. I'm also a firm believer in if you don't know that you're doing whatever and it's fucking dumb, and nobody tells you, then you're just going to continue doing something that's fucking dumb.
Right.
You know,
basically.
And, you know, that sometimes that's a matter of perception as to what's dumb and what's not. You know, but if you're sticking your fucking finger in the light socket and nobody tells you that you're doing something dumb, I'm your guy.
Well, guys, thank you for being on the Sprout and Dusty show. Sprout and Dusty shows brought to you by Big Fish Bail Bonds out of Wichita, Kansas, and Sedgwick County, America. You know, I hope you never get in trouble. I hope nobody gets locked up in the slammer and no stupid shit like that. But if you absolutely need to be bailed out, call Big Fish Bail Bonds. It's, let's see, 316-262-4100. You know, hit them up because jail sucks. Hey, we've got a lot of new followers to this show. I like to announce that before we went on the air tonight, we reached over 1,000 likes on Facebook, which is pretty tough for any podcast to do that's streaming from here. So thank all of you guys for liking the Sprout and Dusty show. On behalf of Dusty, thank you very, very much. He's having a good time with his family in the wilderness in Arkansas right now. No banjos. He's having a good time. He's celebrating tonight with us. And man, once again, thanks to Had Enough, Steve Murdock. Thanks to Lil Drippy. Thanks to Back Home Media. Yo, Fat Kid, drop that beat.
Well, I don't think it, I thought it, that's different. I said what I said and I meant it, or lamented. Words given weight without thought in a person, the way that I talk and the way that I ought to be able to pause and to say that the fault can be placed on my arms. I display full assault to disgrace in his arm. Pray for the day they could wait for the calm. You can't control the storm, only weather it, whether it's 5 weeks and 5 days of rain sideways, or scorched earth, search for death or water, left with all the thorns, with the petals gone, settle on the breath of autumn. If the ground fits, wear it,